team. I've been working on cloud stack and Android FHIR SDK the last few years with a lot of external developers, such as Olga team, PRD team, and other teams. So just a quick recap on our stack architecture. This is something that Fred talked about this morning. Just really quickly, this is a set of tools that help accelerate the development of next generation solutions. The idea really is to take away the complexity and make it very easy for you to adopt FHIR and new technologies. There are different components in the cloud stack. I think if you remember this same diagram that I showed this morning, there's Android SDK, which can build Android apps, but there's also FHIR Gateway, FHIR pipes, and then there's other sort of integration demos and development instances as part of the stack. Right, so to introduce the Android FHIR SDK, what is it? It's essentially a set of code libraries for building offline capable mobile-first healthcare applications using FHIR and Android. There's a few design principles that first of all. So it's open source, obviously, free to use, free to distribute, you can use commercial software as well. It's FHIR native, that's in the name. Every library that the SDK has, the purpose of it is to enable usage and adoption of FHIR in some capacity. It's offline capable. This is really because of some of the popular settings we're particularly concerned with. So in remote areas where maybe there's no connectivity, it's very important to have data accessible on device even if you don't have mobile connectivity. Obviously, later on, reading that, when you either come back to a facility or you connect to Wi-Fi, you may be able to sync the data and centralize the server again. And then finally, workflow aware. So this is evidencing sort of the few libraries we have in the Android SDK. And we're trying to enable different workflows. We're trying to enable SDC, we're trying to enable the care plan generation process. We're trying to enable so after that, the activity flow process that's compliant with the clinical practical guideline. So that's the overall picture of the Android FHIR SDK, the set of tools. What are the libraries that we have in Android FHIR SDK? So we have built so far 4 libraries. The first library we built is called the FTC library. Francis and I gave a little intro to the process of FTC. We'll talk about this library a little bit. It's basically a library that helps you use questionnaires, use FHIR questionnaires to collect data on the device. So it has 3 APIs. I think I'm almost will go through it. The main thing is the questionnaire API. So that's the API we really use to take the FHIR questionnaire. The clarification API And then finally, the workflow library. So it has 3 APIs. You can generate a care plan for a patient, given a plan definition. You can run some sort of clinical measures on device using the sort of on top of the information you have stored on device database. And then there's a tasking API, which is a very new API. We have just merged the PRs, I think a couple of weeks ago. That is to take sort of the FHIR care requests through the activity flow when you're delivering care to the patient. So that's our attempt to sort of simplify the implementation of a CPG-IG. Right, so that's a lot. There's 4 libraries. But how do we put these things together to build an Android app? So here's a very sort of simplified, I guess, architecture of an Android application that you might be building, right? So maybe let's start from the bottom left. So first of all, we have, if you include the FHIR engine in your Android application, there will be a SQLite database that we have built to store FHIR information, right? And then the FHIR engine will talk to a remote FHIR server to load the FHIR resources and store that in the database. Similarly, the knowledge manager, as I mentioned, is the library that handles knowledge resources in the DB, which is the index, basically, but the actual content of the files is stored in the file system. So it loads the knowledge resources from the knowledge repository. So these 2 things are kind of the foundation. They actually manage the file resources on device. So on top of that, you can use the SDC library, which is the focus of our first half of the session, to generate questionnaires and to build questionnaires. And you can use the workflow library to run some of the CQL logic, either to generate a care plan for a patient or perhaps to create some measures. And then you have your, obviously, application UI and the business logic that interact with all the different libraries of Android FHIR SDK. One thing that's very important to call out here is that even though all these 4 libraries are included in the diagram, you don't necessarily have to use all of them. You really can, the idea really is you should be able to pick and choose. It's kind of, again, like a Lego bricks, right? If you just want to build an app that sort of displays a questionnaire and then collect the data somehow and then maybe sync it back to the server, you can just use the SDC library. You don't have to use anything else. If you just want to store a couple of FHIR resources, more than a couple, maybe hundreds, even thousands of FHIR resources on device, and you're not trying to render a questionnaire, you can just use the FHIR engine library, right? But also, if you are trying to use only to store FHIR of these demo apps in the documentation, we have a FHIR engine demo app, which kind of looks like this. You open it, and then you can basically go and look at the patient list. You can sync the data with the server. We have been revamping this app a little bit, so I think the landing page looks a little bit different now to this image. And then the SDC catalog app is an app that I really, really love because I think it's done in a way that's really modular and it's really easy to see what capabilities there are for the SDC library. So for this app, we showcase all the support for the different extensions in the SDC spec in the SDC library. Right? So we can see how it's rendering a single choice, how it's rendering a drop-down menu, and you can also see the different layouts the SDC library supports, as well as some of the advanced behaviors such as calculated expression, etc. And then the workflow demo app is something that we have, again, very recently merged. I think it was submitted only 2 weeks ago. So this is an app where you can use Knowledge Manager and Workflow Library to run through the activity flow defined in the CPG, the clinical practice guidelines. So for a patient, for example, in this case, you can see that it's generating a medication request given some kind of recommendation that's been encoded digitally in the file resource. And then you can go through the entire flow to deliver that medication request. Right, as I say, the FHIR engine library and the SDC library are more mature. And the
workflow library and knowledge manager library are currently still in beta. Right, so we're going to switch up the order a little bit. Instead of doing the intro to SDC library, just because we're so pressed on time, I think I'm going to present the SDC library code lab, and I'm going to ask everybody to sort of begin to get going with the code lab. And then whilst we set up things, I will probably go through the SDC library intro to highlight some of the sort of more interesting elements rather than going through the entire presentation. So we have built this code lab, which is accessible from the ohs.dev website. Basically, run you through the entire sort of flow of including an SDC library, of including a FHIR questionnaire, and then rendering the UI on device, and then collecting the answers to the questions. So, sorry if the link is hard to see, but I'm going to show you how to get there. If you just type OHS, can you see my screen? Yeah, if you just go ohs.dev, you will be able to find the Colab in the Learn section. Click Learn. And on the left, you can see there's tutorials. And the second one is Android FHIR SDK Code Labs. So for the first part, we're going to look at the structured data capture code lab. And that will bring you to this page. So you really guide you through the setup you need to do. You need to download Android Studio. You need to sort of sync the, download the demo app, the Colab app. And then you guide you through the different sort of stages or steps of running the app, and then modifying it to include the SDC library, and then finally sort of rendering the questionnaire and then extracting file resources. So it's a very simple app, but I think a lot of the time may be spent on the setup of it. So I would ask everybody to start playing with this code lab. Again, the URL is here, or you can just type in ohs.dev. All right, any questions? So we have a few sort of Android FHIR SDK or Open Health Stack experts in the room as well. These are people who we have worked very closely with on some of the libraries. They have made significant contributions to the libraries. So I have Nitin here from IPRD, if you don't mind standing up. So I think I've asked Ben as well to step in as well. But I think Simon also has a lot of, and Lazarus have a lot of knowledge in the Android FHIR SDK. So if you have any questions, please feel free to grab either me or some of these experts who will be available throughout the session. All right, so I will pause here and just allow people to get going with the code lab, and then we'll see how people are getting on, and then we might come back to some of the presentations. Cool.
So just have a show of hands. Who here has got Android Studio installed on your laptop? What's the percentage? So these are Android developers, I think. Yeah. So those who are still downloading it or trying to set it up, do you have any problems, issues? We're just going through things. I see some people are still syncing the project. Yeah, it's good. It takes a little bit of time. I think we had that problem last time. How are you doing? Cool. Oh, how do I turn it on and off?
Yes.
How do I turn it on and off?
Here. That's all.
Okay, so I'll mute it because yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Cool. I see people are looking at the codes lab pages, so that's good. How's it going?
I'm repertoiring.
Hmm?
I'm repertoiring.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So is everybody either set up or in the process of being set up? Yeah? Do you need any more time? So I think whilst the people do that, I may just go through a few slides that is interesting. Right, I'm not going to repeat myself too much. And those of you familiar with the content, please feel free to continue to go through the collab. I don't really need to, I think, talk too much about sort of SDC in general or the FHIR questionnaires in general, which I think I hope most of the people in this room will have a good grasp of. And I just want to maybe highlight a couple of interesting things, right? So first of all, the questionnaire fragment is how we add the questionnaire to your Android UI. That's essentially the sort of questionnaire API we have, right? So the questionnaire fragment is a class in the SDC library. So if you want to put a questionnaire in your application, you need to create a questionnaire fragment, and then you need to give it a FHIR questionnaire that you have created, either by hand or using one of the tools we showed this morning. And then the SDC library will take care of the rest. So you don't really get a lot, so you don't have to do a lot with the fragment itself. You basically just pass a questionnaire to the fragment, and the fragment should do most of the work, including rendering, the correct handle the correct behavior of the form, and also getting a FHIR response back, questionnaire response back. So when you do need to do that, you just have to call the get questionnaire response sort of API. Another interesting thing here is that the Android FHIR SDK's SDC library is using a view model architecture, right? So what it means here is that the sort of all the state of the questionnaire is stored in a view model in the backend, backend of the Android app. And why is that important? When you are interacting with an app, the screen may go dark, the screen may get locked. You may have an orientation change, in which case the UI will be destroyed and recreated. You may have like a change of configuration in the Android system, and that means sometimes the UI needs to be recreated as well. So it's very important to keep the UI state in the questionnaire state in the view model rather than in the UI classes, right? So that's what this class is on the left, right? The view model. It takes in a questionnaire, eventually generates a questionnaire response when the collection is complete. It generates a whole list of questionnaire view items. These are being rendered by the recycler view, and then that forms the sort of UI you have that is one line per question, or one line per widget, right? A couple of examples of the layout. You could have a single page layout, in which case you scroll up and down to answer the question. But in some cases, you may prefer to have a paginated layout that's handled by a specific FHIR extension that's defined in the SDCIG. So if you really want to learn about this, try to find this extension in the SDCIG using the link that we had shown earlier. There's other layouts available in the Android FHIR SDK's SDC library. For example, you could have a read-only layout, and you could only have a review mode that sort of gives you a summary of the questions you have answered and the answers before you can submit the questionnaire response. Validation, very important topic, especially when it comes to healthcare data. I mentioned earlier today, but in the questionnaire itself, the validation is happening automatically, depending on how you specify the data requirements in the questionnaire, right? So if you say, for example, for this question, which is a random blood sugar measurement, the integer value cannot be more than 600, and it cannot be less than 30, and then it has to have at least two, the mean length has to be 2, right? So in this case, if you type in 2, you will say minimum value allowed is 30. So that's one error message coming from the green data constraint. And then you will also say the minimum number of characters that's permitted in the answer is 2. So you can't just have a single character answer. So that's provided by the red constraint. So now if you type in a very large number like 1,000, you will see some other error messages that's been provided by the other data requirements, right? So the good thing here is that, again, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff if you're an Android developer. So if this is already in the FHIR questionnaire that has been provided to you for you to implement in your setting, the SDC library will handle all of this UI change and behavior. Skip logic, I think I mentioned very quickly this morning. That's when you decide to display or hide certain questions depending on answers to other questions. So in this case, if you say you haven't received flu vaccine, there will be no additional question. But if you change the answer to the question to yes, there's another question that will pop up, which is the date of the vaccination you received. So this is done using the enable when statement. So when you get to this part of the questionnaire, I would suggest that you go and take a look at the SDC implementation guide. So search for FHIR SDC IG, and then try to find in that implementation guide the definition of enable when and see, and learn a bit more about it, how this is done. But essentially, it's kind of saying this question, which has an ID, it is decided by this first question. So that's where you specify the question ID. 1.0 would be the ID for this question. And then you're saying that if the answer coding that has a custom system is the code Y, that's equal to the current answer, in this case you will press yes, then this whole question, which is the second question, will be shown, right? Expressions is another thing that's kind of interesting. What we're saying here is that you can calculate some answers automatically depending on the answers to other questions. So in this case, the age is calculated by the date of birth, right? The expression here is a little bit awkward because in FHIR, it's quite difficult to do a subtraction between today and the historical date. So we do have to do some kind of string sort of manipulation to calculate the actual age of the patient. But this is a very interesting expression to write. If you're interested, go and have a look at this particular page. It's a one of the pages on the SDC demo app, you can try to kind of decode how this expression actually works. Right, so that's what I kind of want to cover. Yeah, actually this slide as well. So for the data extraction part, we talked very briefly about data extraction, but I don't really know if, I want to just emphasize here again sort of why this is needed, right? So from the UI, from the rendered questionnaire using the SDC library, you can collect information when you do submit. What you get is this thing called the FHIR questionnaire response. So this thing is not a FHIR resource. It's not sort of like a patient resource or any other sort of meaningful FHIR resource. It's just a set of answers to the questionnaire, right? So what it includes is basically, for question 1, you have this answer. For question 2, you have another answer. That's what it says. But if you're saying, from this questionnaire, I want to generate an actual FHIR patient and use that patient in my system to do something clever about it, right? Then you need to add meaning to it. And how do you do that? You have to do an extraction of the data to convert that into a FHIR patient, right? And then in your conversion process, you need to say, for the given name of the patient, I'm taking the answer from this question. For the family name of the patient, I'm taking the answer from the other question, et cetera, et cetera. So this is what Francis early on talked about, the 3 different methods of extraction. Population, very similar. It's just a reverse process. When you open a questionnaire, you're trying to populate the name, the family name, with the existing patient data, because otherwise you would have to re-input the data every time. There's no way for you to edit the patient's data, right? And this has already been covered. Right, so with that, I'm going to pause again. I think we should have still about over an hour for the FHIR engine. So I think I'll leave a bit more time for people to go through the SDC libraries collab. I think what I'll do here is, I'll just pause here. We'll try to come back in, I think, maybe about 20 minutes. So 20 more minutes for you to play with the SDC library. I don't know how far everybody's got. Maybe I'll show my Android Studio as well, just for. So what I've done is, I think if you haven't done this before, what I've done is I opened. Can you see this? Yeah. So I opened the data capture directory in the Android FHIR SDK's code labs repo. Right. Sorry. So the entire repo is Android FHIR, and then after you open that, there's a lot of different modules. Go to the code labs and go to data capture, and then load that. Right. And then once you load that, you may need to sync Gradle, and then when you build the app, this should be the app that you see in either your emulator or in your Android device, right? So at the moment, it just says "Hello World," and then if you go back to the Colab itself, that's kind of the first screen, and it tells you how to add the structured data capture library to the project, and then after that, you can try to display a questionnaire. So maybe another sort of 4 or 5 steps really to get to display a questionnaire from the Hello World app, right? Yeah, so the setup part is hopefully people have gone through this. Yeah, feel free to work with your neighbors and ask questions. It's a very informal hands-on session, so yeah. Ben. do you mind just sort of walk around and help see if people are struggling with some of the tests? Thank you. Yeah, sure.
I'm a Java developer.
Mm.
I use other languages.
IntelliJ, yeah.
I'm very, very new in this area.
Yeah.
So I just downloaded my JDK
Yeah.
for Android Studio.
This is the.
I want to actually just for you to give me a quick start so that I
Yeah, sure. So this is Android Studio, right? So you have this.
Yes.
This is your first. Oh, this is your first application.
Yes.
Okay. So I mean, right. So you already there's an app set up, right? So you can if you just click this, you'll run the app in your emulator, which is emulator is like a fake Android device
Yes,
running. Yeah. So this will show once this is built, it will show here as your app.
Okay.
But what I really want you to do is to go and download this code. You just have to go to. Do you have Git?
No.
You don't have Git. You can. Can you need to allow this? Yeah. So can you go to a browser? Oh. Can you go to a browser? Yeah. Can I just type in? So, if you want to download this repo, you can download it as a zip file. Oops. Do that. Can you just unpack that wherever it is?
If I have the JIT, I will be able to download it to my JIT.
Yeah, you don't have Git, right?
I used to have it, but I
Yeah, that's fine. So this is it's not a problem at all.
Okay.
You just have to download it and then. Oh, it's quite slow.
Oh, it's very slow.
It's quite a lot of code, I guess. And once you download it, right, if you go back to the code lab, you need to unzip it. Where's the code lab? Do you have it open?
Yeah.
This one? Oh, no, I mean the page for the code lab. So go to this page. Go to learn, to ohs.dev. Go to learn and Android FHIR SDK code labs.
I was actually listening to your video.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so it's so basically you want to, so this is the step you have done, right? And then now you want to start a project located here. So it kind of shows that how you open that. So basically you just have to open a project that's in data capture, right? So once you, so basically you'll be at, imagine you're at this screen of Android Studio, so here, you need to do, where's the menu? So file, you go to like, I think you need to open actually, it's not import, it's open. And then you specify, you can go to the, wherever you unzip the application. So wait for a bit for this to finish downloading. Oh, it's done, I think. Yeah, so can you just unzip? How are you doing? Is anybody, people there, the building? Are they? Yeah, okay. Take a look, just try to help, try to go around and help people. Thank you.
I can unzip on my cloud.
I don't know, where did you download it? Well, I don't know, I just clicked, it should be in downloads, right? Oh, wait, isn't it there? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, let's extract it. Any questions? Anybody stuck? So who has built your SDC demo app for the first time? Who has built your demo app for the first time? Have you got to that screen? You have? Oh, great. Well done. And have you added a questionnaire to it? Okay. You only have like 2 more steps to go for that to happen. How are you doing?
Yeah, I just you're asking for updates.
Yeah, it'll take a bit of time.
Yeah.
Sorry. Luckily, the hotel Wi-Fi is not too slow.
Yeah. It's still sometimes.
Ah. Oh, it's a bit slow to unzip. Git would have been quicker.
All right.
Why? Because you wouldn't be downloading the entire thing. You only sync in the
Can I
master.
try to remember my password?
Yeah, no, it's okay.
I was jumping in management. I realized I have my areas here.
All right, so if you have trouble with Git, you could also download the code from GitHub directly as a zip file, but the zip file is bigger than what you would have downloaded just by cloning the Git repo, I think. So, right, I hope everyone has got to the point of like adding the library and displaying a questionnaire. Any questions, give the experts in the room a shout. If it takes too long, if you can work with someone to see if you can work on a sort of a collab together. If you're still downloading Android Studio or setting things up, or your laptop is struggling, maybe work with a neighbor who has got things set up, and then you can go through the exercises together. Just help each other, please.
Sorry, what did you say your name is?
Hmm?
What did you say your name is?
June.
Okay.
But you can download the code.
Oh, we've done that.
You've already done that.
Yeah, he's unzipping it.
Just
Don't stop it. Don't click that. Oh, wait, sorry, that's the download. Okay, you can stop download. Don't stop the unzipping. Have you done the unzipping?
Check.
it's still going on.
Still going.
God, that's kind of slow. Don't know why.
So I'm actually managed to log into my Git. So I'll
Oh, so
Yeah.
can you open with? Can you clone that Git repo? Oh wait, is that finished? That might be finished.
No.
Oh, you just clicked to the back.
Yeah.
Okay, you can. Can you log in? Can you just clone this URL? Can you run git clone?
You have to install it.
Well, I mean, I don't know how to install Git on Windows, but don't you just download something?
But yeah, you download something. Just another tab. Just say git download.
Yeah, just download a exe file for Windows or
Yes.
something. Yeah.
No, git, just git.
One word.
How are you doing? Do you have Android Studio? Yeah.
Just want to do the import.
Download the code. Yeah. Great.
You can come and check out the office.
Yeah, just use GitHub or git clone, or you can download the zip file. How you doing, Josh?
Good. How are you?
Thanks for coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Luckily, we have a code lab, so it's much easier to run through these sessions. It used to be a bit more harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is all based on getting the Android Studio.
Android Studio set up, and then you run the sort of you download the demo app we have, and then you try the exercise of like adding the FHIR questionnaires and the library to the app,
Okay.
and then you kind of basically build a data collection app,
I see.
like in one session.
Okay.
This is something that, if you think about it, a lot of people sort of groups spend a lot of time trying to do.
Yeah.
I guess pre-FHIR days, right? Data collection, and now we're saying, hey, let's do this in one session. I think it's pretty cool, but it does require a bit of setup. So sometimes it's like doesn't always work very well.
Oh, no, I think you're brave for trying to do all this.
Well, I mean, brave is the right word. Yeah, I'm definitely being brave. All right, how are you guys doing? Yeah? Do you have Android Studio set up on your laptop?
Yeah, just waiting for the day to run.
Ah, okay. Oh, that's cool. So you got the code cloned as well?
Yes, code.
Yeah.
Out.
Yeah, everything good. I'm seeing people making really good progress, so well done, everyone. Maybe just a reminder to everybody, right? Like this is a lot actually happening in one session and condensed into a code lab. This is sort of essentially about 1 hour of your time. If you have things set up, using less than 1 hour really to create an application that collects medical data using a standard that is, compliant and sort of collect some of the patient information. So that's like, I can imagine groups in pre-FHIR days spending a long time sort of just building one single app. But, we're aiming at sort of creating a data collection app in about 1 hour. So it's very, very ambitious. So don't be too frustrated if you're struggling because there's a lot of steps to go through. But hopefully the collab is clear and then you're able to make progress.
The other thing we can be looking out for is where someone who's new is struggling with the code lab, then maybe we can improve it.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
they can raise that.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. Did you manage? Oh, you're trying to set up Git. Okay. All right, so it's 3:30 now. I think in a few minutes' time, I'm going to start sort of talking about the FHIR engine library. So I'm going to ask people to maybe pause. Well, we have a few more minutes. I'll ask people to pause in a few minutes, and then we'll go through some content, and then come back. You can either sort of continue the SDC code lab, or maybe move on to the FHIR engine code lab if you have done this. So I know some people are just waiting for things to build, so maybe it's a good use of time if we jump back to the presentation here. How are you doing? You okay? Oh yeah, it takes a bit of time. Yeah, that's why I was trying to say like set up Android Studio beforehand. But you know, but at least now you know like where to find the collab. You should be really quick to, once you have this running, you should be really quick to, actually build an Android app. Hopefully in an hour. Are you Android? Do you know Android developer? Because you have done like this. Yeah.
I'm really into the industry, so
Yeah.
I want to just explore and learn more.
Great. And give a comment. It's great. What's your name?
Yeah.
Great. Nice to meet you. Okay, can I have everybody's attention, please? So I see people are really sort of deep in the sort of exercises, so that's great. But just for the interest of time, I think I'm going to try to go through a bit of content on the FHIR engine library, and then we'll come back to the practical hands-on for everybody. Obviously, you can continue to use the collab and look at the materials. And if you have any questions in the next 3 days, feel free to grab either me or some of the experts in the room, or even after that, feel free to shoot an email to the team. We're very happy to help. But just for the interest of time, let me just sort of talk a little bit about the Android SDK's FHIR engine library. So first of all, the FHIR engine code lab. I think if you have navigated to the dev site and found the SDC library code lab, the engine code lab is next to it. You click through, you go through some of the sort of the setup steps. The main thing we're trying to do here with this code lab is actually even more ambitious than the SDC code lab. So it takes you through the process, the steps of setting up a local FHIR server on your laptop, right? So that might take a bit of time, and that's why I'm saying, talking about that right now. So if you want to get started, you can do that. So we basically use Docker. You just download the FHIR image, and then you kind of populate it with some fake patient data very quickly. And then you can set up the Android test app as the steps showing here. And then you can configure the test app with FHIR engine library. With maybe a few code blocks, you can get to the point where you're syncing, and then you have the sample patient, which you have populated into the FHIR server on your laptop to the Android app, which is also running on your laptop, right? So this is kind of the structure of the FHIR engine code lab. But the content I want to go through is just maybe to talk to you a little bit about the FHIR engine library on its own, right? So the FHIR engine library is a library that helps you manage FHIR resources on Android device. As I was saying, it's not a FHIR server. It's compiled to UAPK. So what does this really mean? There is a very important security implication here, which is that the FHIR engine library doesn't have its own security boundary. It's part of your app. The database is part of your app, right? So you can access all the data that's stored in the FHIR engine database. So that means it's very important for you to build an app that's secure. You have to go through your own security audits, make sure that your access control is appropriate and secure, and those things are not what FHIR engine is providing, right? That's kind of on the application level. So the architecture of the FHIR engine, the most important thing about this library is probably this database. So we have built a SQLite DB that stores FHIR resources. And then we have built 3 sets of APIs on top. The data access API, which is kind of like a CRUD operations. You can read, write, update, delete. There's a search API. It's very similar to the FHIR search API, but not exactly the same because obviously we don't really have the constraints and requirements of like doing things over HTTP. This is a programmatic API, right? So you're just calling a function. So our way of dealing with that is a bit different. And then we have created sort of this thing called the Kotlin DSL, it's domain-specific language, to help you specify your search queries. And then the sync API provides you with some configurations and options to sync with the FHIR server. We'll get to that in a bit. Right, so for the FHIR engine library, if you want to use any of those APIs, the entry point is the FHIR engine provider interface. So use that to initiate the FHIR engine by providing some configuration. For example, here you were saying that the encryption of the DB is if it's supported, then we turn it on. And then if you recreate the DB, then you would if you reopen the DB will be recreated if you wipe the encryption. And that's what he's saying. It's very complicated, but there is other options. You might not want to recreate the DB at open. And then when you are trying to use FHIR engine, you basically call FHIR engine provider.get instance, and then you pass the context of the application. So you can do that anywhere in your app once the FHIR engine instance is initiated. I talked about the DB, which is sort of the very centerpiece of the entire library. But if you are designing a database, it's kind of a question to everybody. If you're designing a database to store FHIR resources, how would you go about it? It's a very complex schema. It's moving, it's evolving, and it's very difficult to imagine sort of actually creating a normalized DB for the FHIR spec, right? And it's already available in JSON format. It really lends itself sort of very well to the sort of document DB sort of style. So the way we have approached this problem is partially inspired by HappyFHIR solution, and I think same with lots of other FHIR stores as well, which is to store the FHIR resource as a document rather than doing it in a way that is normalized. So look at the DB schema. This is the most important table in the entire DB. We have a single table for FHIR resources. There's indexes on it. There's sort of different columns, but the most important thing is probably the JSON column of the resources table. It basically stores the FHIR JSON. We have created some index tables to support the search of the resources table. And again, this is really because the FHIR search spec is so complex. You have a lot of different search parameters, right? You can search a patient by name, maybe by gender, by some kind of other code, or by address, by lots of different things, or by the birth date, right? And all of these are sort of specified using the search parameter FHIR resource, which again is a dynamically evolving thing. New FHIR versions will come up with new search parameters. And even you can come up with a new search parameter, and you can provide as a custom search parameter that's allowed by FHIR. So because of the dynamic nature of how search works, we create these sort of individual index tables, one per data type. So that allows you to actually index each of the FHIR resources using the search parameters that's been specified in the FHIR implementation. And then you just populate the resource type, the resource ID, the index path, index name, and index value for each of them. Right, so that's the DB design. As I say, the first set of API we have on top of the DB is the data access API. CRUD, basically, create, read, update, and delete. We have also a set of reified APIs actually for the get and delete functions here. If you're interested in using them, take a look at the interface. The nice thing about that set of APIs is that because of Kotlin's sort of type inference, when you write code, basically the compiled code will understand what type you're getting from the DB, and you don't have to do like a manual cast. So that's kind of a very nice syntactic sugar for developers. Right, so we talked about the indices and the index tables. So when you create a FHIR resource using FHIR engine, or when the first time when you populate the FHIR engine with the FHIR resources you synced maybe from the FHIR server, how do we populate the index tables, right? So when you have a patient, we have to say, because the patient is saved in the resource table, we have to say you can search the patient by name. You have to populate the index table, the string index table with the patient's name because that's a search parameter. So how do we do that? So initially, we were doing this using reflection. So that was kind of painful on Android because reflection has been historically very, very slow. The performance has been improved in recent years, but it's still not that amazing. So when I say reflection, what we did was we would take a FHIR resource, and at runtime, we would figure out which sort of search parameters that there are about this FHIR resource, and then we would look at the path, and then go into the fields of the Java class and figure out which Java data field to index, and then we will save that data into the correct index table. So all this happening at runtime is obviously very slow. But it was the easiest thing to do, perhaps. But after we realized there was a big performance issue, we started changing this thing from this kind of runtime operation to a compile time operation. Because at compile time, you mostly know which search parameters you need to be using to index the FHIR resource. So that was a huge performance improvement in the FHIR engine library. I think that was done by Aditya Kukure, a student who was really excited to contribute to the Android FHIR SDK repo. So that was a really good job. That was a really good job by him. Right. So that's how we index. You know, we index things sort of using search parameters at compile. The search parameter code is generated at compile time, and then you index the resource at runtime by using the compile time generated code. Right. So this is how the indexer itself actually works. So on the left side, this is like a FHIR JSON. This is the FHIR resource we're trying to save to the Android FHIR SDK's DB, FHIR engine DB. You have a lot of data. It's kind of hard to read here. I'm sorry about that. But what we do is obviously we save this thing into the resources table. But the indexer will take a look at this whole resource and then figure out, OK, for the first name, the patient's first name is Donald, and the patient's name is patient OP81. And I need to create a record that includes these data and then put in the string index. And then indexer figures out, OK, for the last name is Doug, so I have to put another string index record into the index table. And then for the gender is male, so I have to put a code index into the code index table. So now, when you're searching for a patient whose name is Donald, the string index table is queried rather than this document in the resource table. So that's how we enable FHIR search using the index. So this is how the indexer works. Right, so now we have the indexer. How do we use that? Using the search API, we have a Kotlin DSL, domain-specific language, that is very similar, as I said, to the FHIR search API, but it has some differences. So what we do here in this part of the Android FHIR SDK's FHIR engine library is that we let developers write code. So you write this, and then you do search with the code that you write with autocomplete. The query generator, which is a class in our engine library, will understand what you have written and then create a SQL query, which is then sent to the DB. And then the result is returned back to your code. So why is this really preferable? We don't really want people to get into the business of writing SQL queries on device. I mean, that's insane. And we don't really want you to be exposed to the details of the database, right? So because we created the DB in a very specific way, we want you to be able to do things in a way that's very, very familiar and friendly and similar to how FHIR does the HTTP search API. So looking at this, essentially you just have to say, I'm searching a patient, and then I will add a filter, which is I want to filter the birth date that is greater than this particular date. So all these things will pop up when you type as part of the autocomplete. Right, so about the sync API, finally, I think this is the last topic we have. we have two modes of syncing. There's one-time sync and periodic sync. It's very self-explanatory. If you want the app to periodically pull data from the server and then periodically upload data that you have collected on the app to the server, then use periodic sync. Otherwise, you may have some one-time sync requirements that you need to use a one-time sync API for. Uses Work Manager, allows you to use certain constraints that's built into the Work Manager library. That's a Jetpack Android X component. Right, so to start a sync job, you need to define two things. You need to basically define what to download and what to upload. So in this case, we have this thing called download work manager. So essentially, you start with a particular seed URL. You say, I want to start downloading downloading file resources from like maybe a list of patients. That could be your seed URL. Or you could be starting from a single patient, right? And then once that seed URL is used to create a request to the FHIR server, and then you get the response back, you can say, I want to download more resources. And why is this important? Because of the references we mentioned earlier on. FHIR resources are linked together, right? You want to have a way to download more resources in the same download job that includes resources that you might want to include from the initial resource. So if you download the patient, you may want to pull in like conditions and observations and other things that's related to the patient, right? So in those cases, you will go through sort of maybe a couple of iterations of this flow to get all the data that you need from the server. So we do have a much simpler, I would say, but not quite as flexible sample implementation of the download work manager. So if you want to get started easily without sort of having to implement this thing yourself, just go to head to our repo. We have sample apps that has a example download work manager. And then there is this question of uploads. How do you upload? So by default, we upload anything that you have changed on device. But there is an ongoing project, I think it's a requirement from the owner team, to keep some resources local only. So we're adding a flag to exclude those resources from being uploaded. But otherwise, the default option is we upload all the file resources to the FHIR server. And then you can do that by specifying an upload strategy. Now, you really don't have to write a lot of code here again. It's really just about sort of specifying what you want the library to do. All you have to say is, okay, for creation of resources, I want you to use a put verb, because there's a couple of different ways of doing that in FHIR. But if you want to do a put, sort of update, upsert, then you can do a put. Sorry, not upsert. I think it's update by creation by put, it's called. And then you have to specify the HTTP verb you want to use for the update. It can be a patch, or it can be sort of sending the entire file resource. So the patch here refers to JSON patch. And then you have other options, such as if you want to squash all the local changes, or if you want to specify a specific bundle size for your sort of bundle request, right? So the local changes here is an interesting concept. I don't think we've really covered it. What happens on sort of the Android FHIR SDK's FHIR engine is that every time you make a change or save a different version of the resource, we keep a version of the local change in a local change table. So we actually have a record of all the changes that you've done locally. But when we upload, we recognize that you may not want to upload all of those things as a single version, right? So that's an important use case. Sometimes you have lots of different edits to the same questionnaire or to the same response, but you may want to treat that as a single version of the file resource. But in some cases, you might not want to do that. In some cases, it's very important to keep a audit trail of everything that has happened on Android. But it depends on your use case. You may choose to do one or another. But here, the option is is to allow you to either squash local changes to a single version change to be sent to the FHIR server, or you want to keep each of them as individual FHIR resource server, right? So if you don't squash, once the resource is uploaded, you'll be able to see the history of the resources sort of change log on the server, right? So everything will be a new version. But if you squash, there will only be one new version after the upload. There's some sample code of the sync API. And then these are also in the code lab, which hopefully some of you will be able to get to. So that's sort of all the content that I have. Again, the point here really is for you to try the collab. And just to show you, I was running the collab myself. Where's this? So this is SDC data capture. So this is the engine collab. So so if you run the app, you basically initially you'll be a empty page. You'll just say hello world. And then if you look at the code here is actually very simple. There's a few classes. You don't have to touch like much of this. You just have to follow the. A lot of this is actually empty. Yeah, you just have to follow the instructions in the collab page, and copy and paste some of the code from that page to these like placeholders. And then once you've done that, if you rerun this app, you see the patient list is created, and then you can try to then sync with the FHIR server that hopefully you will be able to create in Docker on your laptop. All right, that's everything. So back to the exercise, we'll have the sort of code heroes / FHIR experts to walk around and help everybody. Yeah, have any questions, just give us a shout. So I want to say there's one comment, the FHIR instance is a very useful thing to be familiar with. So even if you're not doing the rest of the FHIR SDK engine code lab, I think that setup step is worth trying. Having that FHIR server set up on your device, I mean, obviously you might want to use it elsewhere. Having it on the laptop is not really ideal apart from the demo purposes. But it is a very, very widely used free open source FHIR server. So yeah, do and get familiar with the FHIR server. If you're still working on the SDC library code lab, feel free to continue with that as well. I mean, the content is all online, so you're not losing anything. But I just want people to build some applications and see some results, hopefully, today.
So,
How are you doing?
I think it's still downloading, but yeah, I downloaded successfully.
Okay.
It's in my documents.
Yeah, sure.
But this one is still downloading. I don't know what's happening.
It's probably just slow. Why is it importing there then? Oh, God. Wait, that's a different. No. So did you import the whole? See, that's fine. Yeah, that's the one. But what we want to do is open this. So can you just reopen this? Just go to the data capture folder instead of this folder. No. If you just go, open. Yeah, you want to go. Oh, what? Where is this like unzipped somewhere? So in downloads and from Can you open that? Open that?
This one.
No, yeah, this. Yeah, can you scroll down? No, scroll down. Oh wait, no. Can I just? Can you open this? Yeah. So what we want to do is go to Code Labs, and then actually open the data capture. So can I just do that? Okay.
Yes.
Just this window. I'll replace it.
Okay.
So you don't have the. Oh, yeah. So now you can actually run this code lab. If you just sync with Gradle, like it's doing the syncing, after it's done, if you click that button, you'll start running the code lab.
And how do I?
And then you can go through the steps.
And how do I then also have the FHIR server? Because I want to be able to develop and test everything in here. Yeah. To connect the FHIR server, etc. How do I set up the FHIR server?
The FHIR server is in the FHIR engine code lab. Okay. So that's the second code lab. There's the SDC's code lab and the FHIR engine code lab. Go to the FHIR engine code lab, and there's the steps to set up the FHIR server.
Both of them on one machine, like.
Oh yeah, of course. Okay. Yeah, it's not a problem. Yeah. But then you have to open. You can open the. You have to go up a little bit. So where we open this collab, right? It's in the another folder. So the data capture and then the FHIR engine. Go to FHIR. So open that one. But then that's the Android part.
How do I link the two of them?
You want to link the two applications, or you want to link the app with the server?
Yes.
App with server. That's all in the FHIR engine code labs instructions.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So follow that. But for this one, if you go back to the instructions,
There looks like there are errors now here.
But if you, can you go back to the instructions maybe? Or you may have to upload Gradle. I would upload to 8.9. Yeah, you just rebuild it.
Where's the collab link?
The code lab.
For the engine.
Yeah. So it's just, you basically go to ohs.dev, and then in the learn section on the left, you have this second one, which is FHIR engine. Yeah. Did you make progress? How's it going? Did you make progress?
Yeah, still stuck, but basically I've been building FHIR engine and using the template that you told us before. So that's good.
What's
This
the
is not.
error message?
I don't know, something with the Gradle.
You may want to. Can you go to the? No, sorry. Go back to this and then click this and go to options or preferences, whatever it's called. No, do you have the big? Sorry, left. Settings. Yeah. Go to build, execution, development, deployment. Yeah. Click build tools. Yeah. Click open. Oh wait, yeah. Click Gradle. You need to change this to change the top one. Click that.
This one?
Oh yeah, sorry, oh no, click the top one. Yeah. Go to download JDK. You need to choose Java version 17.
Specific to 17.
Yeah, 17. Yeah, that's something we probably should add in the tutorial. Yeah, but it normally is 17, but sometimes it's broken. Depending on the version of Android Studio you use, I think yeah, just click OK.
Yeah, it might be back home at my PC. It's just working fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Do some people make progress and build an app?
He's able to.
Yeah.
Adding a questionnaire.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Oh, that's good. I think she was very close over there as well.
I would love to get the slide that you.
Yeah, we'll distribute the slides for sure. Yeah.
So, a quick way of learning this, like a beginner, where should I go?
Well, the website and everything we have there is like really tailored for, developers with very little FHIR background. But if you want to learn about Android development, there's loads of resources. You kind of just have to, identify which bit you want to learn, and then learn it bit by bit, right? Because this whole thing is Android, is also FHIR, is also like, server development. So you have to learn maybe a few.
And Android, separate.
They're separate.
And
Sorry, what?
it has its own server. The FHIR has its own server.
So there's a FHIR server. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
The base FHIR server is provided by FS1, which you can connect to and integrate.
Cool.
Question was asked whether this code lab supports the new Jetpack Compose.
When?
No.
So the question is when will it support?
I know, and now the given code lab which is there for SDC,
Yeah.
does it has codes with respect to Rome now? So I said no.
We want to though.
Yeah.
Who's has she asked it?
Yeah.
I think we have about another half an hour for the hands-on, so just keep going with the follow through the steps. Oh, you're looking at FHIR core.
Sorry?
Yeah, you're looking at FHIR core and a Kuka. Did you ask about Jetpack Compose?
Yes. We were asking
Yeah.
if you
I
really
wanted
have.
to ask.
We don't have Jetpack Compose. I want to, but you know, it's not top of the priority list at the moment. Yeah. If I had more time, I would really love to convert the library to Jetpack Compose.
Yeah.
But I don't really have the time. But you could contribute. You can start maybe converting some of the pieces to Jetpack Compose one by one, and we can sort of learn from that.
Yes.
Maybe it'll be quicker. So yeah,
Yeah.
get in touch. So which organization you're from?
So it's called FHIR Health.
A viral. I've heard of you guys, I think.
Yeah, it's in Cape Town. But
Yeah.
I work remotely from Kenya.
Who, sorry?
Ah?
I what?
It's in South Africa.
Yeah, in Cape Town. Yeah.
But I work remotely, so from Kenya.
Oh, you're based in Kenya. Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we may have met some of your people.
Oh.
Yeah.
Luke, have you met
Look who.
Luke Shatler? Or
Can you-
beside.
Is there a picture?
Yeah.
This is the timing or this is the mother page. When you allow this to you create a child, you create a patient. You create patient access with the child ID
Remember him?
Okay.
No.
Yeah, so I was telling him, so what we've built like a custom form like the one you're showing.
Yeah.
So we've built our own JSON code, defined our properties the way you've done for the questionnaire, and then built the widgets with Compose, and then have a form engine that now translates.
Is that using FHIR?
No, we were
It's
not.
all custom. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm learning about FHIR.
Yeah,
for
so
the
that'll be
first
cool
time.
because you use Compose, you can combine, so you can have FHIR,
Yeah.
SDC, but also using Compose. That would be a great collaboration if you're happy to contribute. Are you a
Yeah.
sponsor? Is it?
No, we are not.
Oh yeah, I thought you were pointing at the logo or something.
No,
No, don't worry. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I came here because they told me like I need to know what's the gap analysis to make the product FHIR compliant.
Ah, very cool. Yeah, we should definitely talk. I mean, do you have my email address? If you're interested in building a project.
Let me get your email.
Yeah, so it's just. Oh, sorry. What did I do?
like if you write a plain SQLite way, you will write some selection.
And then, so the team is.
It does. Room has written a wrapper on top of it where you can write.
Oh, I've done something wrong.
Sorry, just undo. I think
Internet, and you could define some new queries if you want, and that will help you get the SQLite back.
Wait, hang on, that's the wrong one. Sorry.
Okay.
It's stupid. I'm just struggling with this keyboard. It feels very different.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And then that's the team.
Okay, and this is the team.
That's everyone.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to you. So
Yeah.
so the product is already like live and being used, but we want to learn about FHIR
Yeah,
and
that's
see
great.
how we can
Yeah.
we can do it. So I'm just talking to him because he's done it, and I was asking him, do we have
Open
to
house, open SRP.
rewrite the whole thing, or what can we do to
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, because
Fantastic.
one of our main issues was the sync stuff, like
Ah.
because the community healthcare workers, they work in remote spaces, and then
Offline.
yeah, offline. So we have the offline, but we save data internally in the device, and then we kind of prompt them to sync once they go to a place where there's connection, so they manually sync.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but
so we worked a lot on the sync requirements. You know, they have done a bit of quite a lot of work to improve the sync APIs, and we're in a much better place now. We're kind of a lot happier. I'm a lot happier about the whole library because of a lot of work from the owner teams. So I think there's if you are really thinking about moving to using sort of FHIR for your Android apps, it's a great thing to do. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe I'll reach out to you. You can guide us how we can.
Absolutely. You know, we have developer calls. You know, you should join us. We can go from there. Yeah. So our call is sort of fairly, I think, time zone friendly for Kenya. So it's what time is it? It's
Which country?
I think it's 12 on Thursday. I think. Midday. I don't know if you have lunch early or late. But it's,
Okay.
yeah.
Which country is that?
Well, it's all remote. Like everybody does. So like
So
these guys meeting Ali, like a lot of them dialed into that call.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is this like open source place?
Yeah, open source stack. So ohs.dev is their website. I don't know why it's because it doesn't look like a website. It doesn't. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Go back. Yeah. So maybe do HTTPS/. Maybe you might need to add HTTPS//. Yeah. No, colon. Go back. Go back. Go back.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So there's details of the developer's call.
Yeah.
On the site. But you also reach out to us. We'll send you the invite if you want to. So what's your name?
Cyprus.
Cyprus. Nice to meet you. All right, everyone, can I ask you for a favor? I'm going to take a selfie. So if you can look at my camera together. 1, 2, 3, Jumbo. All right, thank you so much. Okay, we have maybe another 20 minutes or so to finish this collab. I know some people have built a questionnaire app, added a questionnaire to the application. So that's great progress. Continue to work through the SDC code lab as well as the FHIR Engine code lab.
So my Python is failing.
Okay, let's see.
Python is failing.
Yeah, we need to do this. Same problem happens with someone else here.
Okay.
Build tools, Gradle. I think the default version is probably 21. We need to change it to Java 17.
You're downgrading Java.
Well, just for Android development because we have some legacy APIs.
Okay.
We can't easily use 21, so we're trying to use JetBrains. That should work. Actually, I don't know why it's red. Yeah, it seems to should work. We'll say download. Yeah, it should be really quick. It's not a big thing.
Okay. You know, I'm the head of technology for Ministry of Health in Zimbabwe, and we have FHIR migration, but it's being done by CDC. Right? So I want to take over that process and actually run it as government level. So the prerequisite for me to understand this so that I can manage my software development. And I can also train them quickly, and I can also point them to where the resources are. And if they start developing, I can supervise and mentor them.
Yeah. So I mean, I think if you want to know how people are developing sort of our applications, we're welcome to come to some of the developer calls because you hear people talking about the problems they have, and then there's also like a WHO sort of level working group call where developers talk about. I mean, it's kind of abstract, right? But I think our developers calls will give a good idea of like how these things work and what are the problems people are facing.
All right.
So now if you just click sync again and see if we'll be able to build a Java app. Just click that. That's it.
For the developer course, where do I get it?
So you can send me an email.
I've taken away all social media from this.
Oh wait, happens again. Why is it saying 11? Can I have this? Can I look at your file that's on? Oops.
Downloads.
Yeah, can I just open this?
It's a new laptop. I pulled it when I was coming here just for this reason, so it doesn't have any pre.
Yeah. Let's see. What's this?
Do you already have the Java installed? Because that's my problem.
What was the problem?
Or Java.
The Java 11.
Oh yeah. So it's Java 11 or something? Okay.
It's installed manually.
So do you do? So do you go to? Can you do this?
But no, the settings still G 17, yeah.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Okay.
But you need to install Java 11 locally.
Oh, how do you do that? Can you help him?
Yeah.
Can you help him with that? Yeah. So is your app building now?
Huh?
Is your app building now?
Yeah. It's basically start building. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Good.
Windows is fine right now.
Yeah, cool. All right, I think some people are having issues with Java versions, as expected, but we've got some solutions here. You need to maybe download Java 11 if you need to.
Where is this?
Windows, is it?
Windows version.
That's really
How are you doing, Jafar? How are you doing?
Yeah, we are fine. Just testing the SDC.
Yeah.
Yeah, we ran with that. Switching to the engine library.
Oh, so you've done the SDC one. You've done the extraction as well? That works?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, awesome. Yeah, good. Yeah, are you setting up the FHIR server right now?
Yes. Oh, I already have an existing file server.
Yeah, you can. You can. Yeah, if you have a test server, use the test server if you want. Yeah, both. Either way, it's fine. Yeah. Great. How are you doing? Have you made some progress?
Java version, yeah.
Okay. Maybe you need to download Java 11.
Seems like I have it already.
Yeah. Can I see your error message? No, can I see your, if you go to Android Studio, what's going on? I need to have to. Can you help here as well? To see if you figured out a solution, you know what it was doing. So you said that Java runtime to 17, right?
Yeah.
The wrapper to 17.
Yeah.
This table is feel like it's going to collapse. It's not very stable.
Gradle.
So did you set it to 17?
Yeah, I'm setting it to the 17. I'm using the 17 one, and I'm using the Oracle one, not Amazon one, or JetBrains. Yeah, that's just fine.
Which one? This one?
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, and then download.
Okay, and then you download Java 11.
Yeah.
So he's trying to download using Brew.
Oh,
I don't know why it's not working.
it's already installed, right?
It seems to work. Let's just do that and see if it works.
Yeah.
The joy of Android
Where's
development.
Studio?
Yeah, so it's done. So once this is done, try to sync the project again.
Just try again.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. They've not been they've been there, but
So you've got the questionnaire response, questionnaire built, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got the questionnaire displayed.
It's built.
Okay, great. I have another app here displaying a questionnaire, guys. Congrats. How are you guys doing? Doing good? Making some progress with the collab? Huh? Oh, oh, well.
Yeah. But it's
Sorry.
okay. I've worked with them before, so
Yeah. Okay.
I at least understand the concept.
Cool. Yeah. Is your laptop holding up?
We were just speaking out about the design
Oh,
materials.
it's done. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you probably need a sort of big laptop for this, to be honest.
It's big.
Yeah, it's reasonably big, yeah. But I think it needs to be charged. Yeah. Yeah. It's like my old laptop used to like get really hot when I was trying to build Android. And it just goes like so this fan just sort of fires.
Tends to do that a lot.
Yeah. It's quite memory intensive. So you do need a
It's annoying, but it's okay.
Yeah. But again, what we're doing here is like we're trying to build 2 applications in 1 hour.
Yeah.
Well, 1.5 hours, pretty much. So it's not everybody will be able to finish because you have to set up and there's a lot of other things. But kind of the point is to show that how it can be done easily and it really sort of improves productivity, makes things easy. So, well, great. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Some people won, but we don't have prizes. That's a shame. Next time.
Next time.
We'll have prizes. Yeah. Yeah. Which organization do you work for?
Telesoft.
Oh, you part in Telesoft. Oh, okay. Sure. Do you work on Open Central? You work on Open Central? Do you work Open Central?
Yeah.
You work on Open Central? Okay.
Yeah. I'm
Great.
the project manager.
Oh, great. Okay. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure is mine.
Yeah. So, David and Kenneth. Yeah.
Actually, I think the point is here. He is part of our mobile devs.
Who?
Jaffe.
Oh, sorry. I've got Jaffe. Yeah. Oh, should we go back? Okay. It's going well.
We'll get.
Oops.
Another day. How's it going?
Then another day.
How you
Right,
guys
I'll
doing?
give out some stickers. Maybe have.
Just repass them around.
Yeah, I'll just pass them around. Do you want some laptop stickers? Open house stack. Do you want some laptop stickers?
All right. How do you get all this?
Well, one more on top of that. We can do that, yeah. Do you have this?
Or we could go to a quarter two and then have a 15-minute break before.
Sorry, say again?
We can go to a quarter to 5 and the next session's going to start at 5 o'clock back in
It's 5 o'clock, the Gen AI. Okay.
Gen AI.
What time is it now? Yeah, I mean, we can. People are just working on things, right? So if people want to break, they can just go. And then other people can work on it for a bit longer. It will be flexible. Do you have this? Oh, right.
Yeah.
Get it from front.
Even
We can use the forums. So if you want, people could like sign up there, and we can start a chat group, and they can keep working on.
Okay, I'll display that. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Guys, if you have questions about this, any part of this, I recommend that because we are really short on time and we have to sort of go back to the plenary very soon. If you open the Open House Stack website, come to the community section and then go to the join the conversation tab. Basically we open up like this forum. So I encourage everybody, if you have questions here, some of the Java sort of version issues you have had, feel free to post on it. And if you have other sort of questions or discussions, just raise an issue here. Like you can just I think you can log in with your Google account or something. I'm not sure. You may have to sign up. Yeah, as you see, it's a very new forum, so we're just trying to create a platform for people to come together and have a chat about things. Right. Anybody else who wants a laptop sticker? I need one. Is it working? Is it working? Is it working?
I did this.
Why not? Oh, you need a 64-bit.
This is a 64-bit render.
I don't know what JCEF means actually. Ooh, it's a bit frustrating for you. Sorry.
What does it mean? Means I could copy someone's configuration.
Can you just try to reload this project? I mean, I know it sounds stupid, but just try to like close Android Studio and clean and reload it. The main thing is the JDK in Android Studio wrapper we have.
Might have to open because it looks like you have to review the accounts.
Do I? Where do I go?
Because I'm not sure, but if you go up, see it's asking for a review. So I tried to log in and it told me. I'm not sure. Tried to log in and it told me that my account is not. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, done.
So you'll have to do that for everyone? You might have to change that.
Yeah, settings, no, we'll have to change that. Yeah.
So, supposed to find.
You can put that in the application class. So create a new application. Yeah, create a new application class.
All right, can I just have everybody's attention again? So it is sort of almost at time. It's 4:30. I was told the next session will start at 5. So we're going to take a break very soon. So feel free to continue to work on this if you are sort of deep in sort of fixing some of the problems in your application. But I think most of us will probably take a break now. Obviously, as I said, feel free to come grab either me or some of the experts who've been helping here in the next 3 days. But sort of beyond that, some people were asking, how do we keep in touch? Right? How do we ask questions after this? Again, go to the ohs.dev site. In the communities page, we have these sort of different ways of connections. Join the conversation, you click that link, they'll go through the forum where you can sign up and start a conversation. You can join our developer calls, or you can even run an OHS workshop similar to this yourself with the materials that we'll provide, right? And also feel free to email me or Fred or Bashir. Our emails going to be available. Come and ask me. So again, thank you very much. I want to just sort of emphasize again, this has been a really, really ambitious task. Someone just said to me that you're really brave to do this. It has been really brave because we are doing, a whole data collection app in an hour, and then we are doing a whole sort of FHIR medical record managed Android app in about an hour. That is, pretty crazy before the days of sort of FHIR standard and sort of the digital infrastructure, right? But we can aim for that now. It really shows how far we have come and the kind of sort of productivity, the kind of transformation we can be aiming for. So thank you so much for joining today. I hope you have learned something, and I will be seeing you in the next 3 days. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on here.
Say the home, the Java home and the OTB.
Oh, try that. Yeah, do that.
I'm trying to add the Java home variable.
It's not this. Can you just put this in Google?
This.
Yeah, well, actually, can you, I'm really not very familiar with Windows. Can you go to Java terminal to figure out what the Java home actually do this? Okay, just copy in this and then put in Stack Overflow or just search, Google search.